The 112th minute, TD Garden, Boston, extra time, the round of 32 at the 2026 World Cup. Germany already believing it. Four-time champions, dragging themselves through a scrappy 1-1 draw with Paraguay, finally about to get the goal they've been chasing for 2 hours. Corner from Nathaniel Brown, whipped in, hangs, drops. Jonathan Tah rises, head connects, ball in the net, goal. Germany 2-1, game basically over. Except it isn't. Because a flag goes up on a screen nobody in the stadium can see yet. And what happens in the next 90 seconds doesn't just decide a football match. It reopens a fight about whether the 112th minute, TD Garden, Boston, extra time, the round of 32 at the 2026 World Cup. Germany already believing it. Four-time champions, dragging themselves through a scrappy 1-1 draw with Paraguay, finally about to get the goal they've been chasing for 2 hours. Corner from Nathaniel Brown, whipped in, hangs, drops. Jonathan Tah rises, head connects, ball in the net, goal. Germany 2-1, game basically over. Except it isn't. Because a flag goes up on a screen nobody in the stadium can see yet. And what happens in the next 90 seconds doesn't just decide a football match. It reopens a fight about whether the system built to make football fairer has quietly become the thing deciding who wins. Germany doesn't lose penalty shootouts at World Cups. That's not an opinion. It's a fact carved into the tournament's history. 4 titles: 1954, 1974, 1990, 2014. A reputation built on ruthless efficiency, cold execution, players who don't blink from 12 yards. And that reputation had a very specific, very sacred exception: the shootout. Germany had never, not once, in the history of the Men's World Cup, lost one. Through decades of penalty drama that broke Dutch hearts, English hearts, Italian hearts, Germany always walked away the villain who wins. Paraguay carries almost the opposite story. A nation of just over 6 million people, a squad built on grit rather than global superstars, showing up at the 2026 tournament simply hoping to survive the group stage. This was already a heartwarming underdog run before a single ball was kicked in the knockouts. And that's the collision at the center of this story. Not just two teams, two entirely different relationships with football's institutions. One that has always trusted the system to reward its discipline, and one that has never had the luxury of trusting anything. VAR itself sits inside this same tension, introduced to eliminate the kind of gut-wrenching officiating errors that used to define World Cups, sold to fans as a fairness machine, a tool built to make sure the best team wins on merit, not on a linesman's mistake. Think about what that means for a moment. The entire justification for VAR's existence is that human error was too costly to leave unchecked, which makes it especially uncomfortable when VAR itself becomes the source of the error everyone's furious about. Germany arrived at this tournament under pressure that had nothing to do with Paraguay. Julian Nagelsmann's side had stumbled through recent tournaments, early exits in 2018 and 2022 still hanging over the program, a golden generation of talent that kept underachieving on the biggest stage. This round of 32 tie was supposed to be the reset. Paraguay, a team Opta's supercomputer gave barely a 1 in 4 chance of even forcing extra time, felt like the perfect opponent to get German football's confidence back on track before a tougher run through the bracket. And the match didn't start like a disaster. Paraguay actually struck first, Julio Enciso heading home from the right in the first half. The first goal Paraguay had ever scored in a World Cup knockout match. Historic for them, alarming for Germany. Germany answered the way champions are supposed to. Kai Havertz glanced in an equalizer in the 52nd minute, set up by a cross from Florian Wirtz. And for a while the match settled into exactly the pattern everyone expected. Germany patient, Germany probing, Germany waiting for the moment to turn the screw. 90 minutes came and went. Deadlocked. Extra time began, and that's when the real story of this night started to take shape. Because nobody in that stadium knew they were about to watch a decision that would outlive the scoreline entirely. Minute 112. Extra time, first period, 10 minutes still to survive before the break. Brown swings in the corner. The ball travels. Tah times his jump perfectly, meets it clean, and heads it past Orlando Gill into the net. For about 4 seconds, it's real. Players celebrating, bench on its feet. Germany 2-1. And then it isn't. Referee Jalal Jayed gets the buzz in his ear. VAR wants a look. He jogs to the pitch side monitor and the stadium goes quiet in that specific way only a football crowd waiting on a screen can go quiet. Here's the detail that should stop you cold. The review wasn't about offside. It wasn't about a handball or the ball crossing a line or anything mechanical that a camera settles instantly. It was about intent. Whether German defender Waldemar Anton had fouled Paraguay's goalkeeper by holding his position in the box, preventing Gill from getting to the ball. Jayed watches the replay, watches it again, and walks back onto the pitch to wave the goal off. Germany's players surround him immediately. Nagelsmann is on the touchline, arms out, disbelief written across his face. And on the broadcast, the reaction from people who've spent their careers around this exact kind of contact is almost unanimous. This is soft. This is the kind of shove that happens in every box, on every corner, in every match played anywhere in the world. The goal is gone. The score stays 1-1, and Germany, a team that has never lost a World Cup shootout, is about to be walked straight toward the one outcome its entire history said couldn't happen. Waldemar Anton is not a player anyone expected to be the center of a World Cup firestorm. A steady, unspectacular center back, the kind of defender who does his job and stays out of headlines. And that's what makes this so uncomfortable for Germany. Replays show contact, yes, but replays of literally every set piece in the sport show contact. 6 or 7 bodies crammed into a 6-yard box, all of them jostling, all of them holding ground. Former Manchester United and Denmark goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel, watching from the studio, said flatly that he didn't see a foul at all, that Gill was the one who ran into Anton, not the other way around. Alan Shearer went further, accusing Gill of exaggerating the contact to draw the whistle. Former USA international Clint Dempsey put it in the simplest terms possible on air. When a fellow goalkeeper looks at that contact and says it isn't a foul, that carries weight. But the referee didn't see it that way, and crucially, neither did the officiating body FIFA answers to on decisions like this, which is where this stops being a one-night talking point and starts becoming something bigger. The immediate reaction split cleanly along a fault line that had nothing to do with nationality. This wasn't Germans defending Germans. It was almost every neutral pundit watching the replay and reaching the same conclusion. The call was technically defensible and also almost certainly wrong. And that split is what makes this different from a normal disallowed goal controversy. Normally you get outrage from the losing side and shrugs from everyone else. Here, the shrugs never came. Broadcasters across multiple countries, working independent panels with no stake in the result, kept landing on the same word: soft. Nagelsmann didn't hide his frustration afterward, calling the decision a joke. Germany went on to lose the shootout 4-3, their first ever World Cup penalty defeat, ending a run that had lasted since the format was introduced. And that's when this stops being about one corner kick in Boston. The individual complaint came first. Nagelsmann, still shell-shocked in his press conference, dismissing the foul as manufactured, a call that shouldn't exist inside the actual physical reality of a football match. Then it escalated. FIFA's refereeing chief, Pierluigi Collina, didn't wait long to weigh in publicly, effectively backing the officials, arguing that holding position while deliberately obstructing a goalkeeper's ability to defend the goal is exactly the kind of contact referees have been instructed to punish this tournament, even when the block is marginal. Think about what that means. FIFA wasn't apologizing. FIFA was defending the standard, telling every remaining team in the bracket that this is now the line, whether they like it or not. And then the third party arrived, the one that turned this from a Germany-Paraguay story into a sport-wide one. Jürgen Klopp, working as a pundit for German broadcaster Magenta TV, didn't just criticize the call, he reached completely outside the match to make his point, invoking Arsenal's Premier League title win and their reputation for scoring a huge share of their goals from exactly this kind of set-piece contact. If this is a foul, he argued, then title-winning tactics used across Europe all season are suddenly illegal too. That's the rule of 3 escalation in full: a coach's personal grievance, an institution defending its own referees, and a global figure pulling an entirely different competition into the argument to prove the standard doesn't hold up anywhere else. And here's the sentence that matters most in this entire story. VAR was built to remove controversy from decisive World Cup moments, and instead it manufactured the single most controversial moment of the tournament so far. Think about the original pitch. Fans were promised fewer hand of God moments, fewer phantom offsides deciding finals, fewer nights where the wrong team advances because a referee blinked at the wrong second. The technology existed to make outcomes feel earned. And on the biggest stage football offers, in a knockout match with a 4-time champions tournament on the line, The system did the opposite. It took a goal that would have settled the match, ran it through review after review, and produced a decision that a room full of former professional goalkeepers and World Cup winning strikers couldn't agree was even correct. That's not a fairness machine working as intended. That's a fairness machine becoming the story it was designed to prevent. And Germany is not alone in this. Zoom out across the same tournament, and the pattern gets harder to ignore. Iran's World Cup ended on the finest possible margin, eliminated after becoming the first team at this tournament to have 3 separate goals wiped out by VAR, including a stoppage time effort ruled out for an offside so marginal it came down to which body part crossed the line first. Their head coach called the misfortune extraordinary. State broadcasters back home openly questioned whether the calls added up. Canada, celebrating a historic first World Cup knockout win, still had to explain away a first-half penalty shout on Richie Larea that experienced VAR analysts called a genuinely confusing reversal, contact that looked worthy of a spot kick, waved away anyway. And Ghana had its own late penalty shout denied against England, a challenge multiple pundits believe should have been given, ruled not to meet the threshold for review at all. 3 different teams, 3 different confederations, 1 shared experience, a knockout stage moment that turned on a screen, not a mistake anyone could see with their own eyes in real time. This matters more because of who it happened to. Germany isn't a plucky underdog nobody expected anything from. Germany is one of the sport's 4-time champions, a program FIFA needs deep in this tournament for television numbers, for storylines, for the sheer weight the name still carries in the game. And that's exactly why this call cuts so deep. If the system can take a goal away from a team with that much history, that much scrutiny, that many cameras watching every angle, a call this contested, on a stage this big, what does that say about the standard being applied to everyone else, on nights with far less attention? Nagelsmann's joke comment wasn't just frustration. It was a program that built its entire identity on discipline and precision, watching a piece of technology decide it had failed the one test it never fails. So here's the real question underneath all of this. If a 4-time World Cup champion can't get a clean, defensible explanation for the goal that ended its tournament, what chance does anyone else have when the review comes down to a judgment call nobody can agree on? Was this the correct application of a new standard FIFA had every right to enforce? Or was this VAR doing exactly what it was built to stop, deciding a World Cup knockout match on a call the sport's own experts couldn't agree was real? Drop your verdict below, foul or no foul, because this comment section is about to be a war zone. And if you want the stories behind the scoreboard, not just the scoreboard itself, that's what this channel is for. Subscribe, because the next controversy is already brewing, and somebody has to explain what actually happened.